What's up, guys? Welcome in. That's a tap with CT and my man DJ. How you feeling, DJ?
Yeah, feeling good. You guys thought we disappeared. We didn't. We didn't. We're still here. We're still here. We're still watching UFC. We're still following combat sports. We just haven't had the time to sit down and talk about it. And yeah, we thought we got some time. Let's try and kick this bad boy off again.
Yes, no doubt about it, man. And what a perfect time. Just off Perth, UFC. We're going to look ahead to UFC 320 next up, DJ, and it's a stacked card.
Yeah.
I'm excited. How you feeling about it?
Man, insane. Like, I mean, we've always used to this latter part of the UFC year to be top notch. It's always been the case, right? Usually it starts in September. Surprisingly, we didn't get a pay per view in September. However, we're getting two in October. No complaints. Our birthday month, two pay per view cards and two insanely stacked pay per view cards. Yeah, like no complaints on my end. But hey, having said that, for September, we did have two really good international fight night events. One in Paris, and then the other one, obviously, in Perth in our own backyard. Both really good cards, really delivered, man. Like, I'll be honest, going into the Perth card, I was a bit underwhelmed in terms of the Aussie talent was great, and we had like you know pretty much top to bottom stacked with local talent. Where obviously I guess like they could have done better is sort of maybe more like better opponents or well known opponents. Just increase that sort of star power in that card. But having said that, man, when it came to the action, it delivered. 10 out of the 11 Aussies came away with wins. The main card was insane, man. Like, I think the one controversial, I'd say this, man, it's a controversial loss because I don't think that was a loss. The referee, I don't know what he was thinking, man. Like, it's just like, this is a UFC and, like, you're expecting world class referees. And look, obviously everyone makes mistakes, but this guy stops the fight. It's clear as day. And then he just says, all right, continue. Like, it's the end of the round. No, it wasn't the end of the round. Like, you just called that fight off, and in hindsight, like obviously Magny wasn't out, so it probably wasn't the right call if he had called it up. But that's beside the point. You've made an official call inside the octagon. Ask the referee of the fight to say this fight's now ended, right? And then the fighter jumps up, celebrates, and you know what? Like the switch in mindset's going to be insane for them to come back and perform. And that's what happened, man. I just feel like I felt bad for Matthews, Jake Matthews, and it's just unfortunate. I heard they've appealed it, and hopefully that gets overturned. But yeah, that's not how it's supposed to be. I'm not saying this because he's one of our own fighters, but it's all okay. I don't know what you thought about it, but yeah, technically in my books it was 11 out of 11 for the Aussies, and what a night, man! What a night.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's hard, as Jake posted on his Instagram, DJ, that he seemed quite understanding of what happened, but most fighters would be obviously very furious, and then end up losing after you thought you won. He took it graciously, but let's see what happens, with the result. And yeah,
Yeah,
obviously, to
absolutely.
all the local fighters that represented. As a card overall, I mean, it was quite exciting, but
Yeah.
like as you said, it could have been a lot, a lot more star-studded
Hmm.
for us. But obviously, we know the challenge in getting big names down under, especially for a
Yeah.
fight night. So, I mean, it is what it is. February though, Sydney. Look
Hey,
forward to
yeah.
that one.
There's rumors about a Sydney card. It's just more more informed by the fighters than the UFC formally. Like obviously Rob Whittaker's mentioned it and say he wants to fight Sean Strickland on that card. Man, massive card, a massive main event that'll be. Um, Bam Bam said he'd probably be interested to jump on that card. Like yeah, look, you put those fights in there. Like you already got a solid card. You got my attention. So yeah, let's see how that pans out. Whitaker made a really good point in terms of will Strickland be allowed to come back to Australia? But we'll have to wait and see. But that's a pretty good fight. Makes sense, man. A lot, Strickland's coming off a loss to Drickers. We know this the scenario with Rob Whittaker. I still thought he won that fight against RDR, but it was such a close race, a thin decision. But hey, yeah, like in terms of former champs, where they're at in their career, like makes sense, to make that fight. So yeah, let's see how that goes. But man, we got a massive weekend ahead. We've got a huge pay per view. Is start of the month, smack bang. Dana White's treating us with a extremely mouth-watering card. UFC 320. That's what I'm talking about. What are your thoughts on the card, CT? We've got Magomed Ankalaev, the now defending champ, taking on former champ Alex Pereira in a rematch. They fought not too long ago in March. Obviously, massive star power up there with Alex Pereira in the card. What are your thoughts on the card?
Man, you know how I feel about Madison Square Garden November time, but this is a perfect entree, a warm up to whet one's appetite, fam. The main card, I think it's excellent.
Yeah,
From names that I'm excited to see, Emmett, obviously a power hitter,
yeah,
Roundtree, Prahashka
yeah,
stands out to me, but yeah, and then the heavy hitters, Dvalishvili, Sanhagen,
yeah,
Pereira, and Ankalaev. I
yeah,
mean, man, it has the makings of a potential 10 out of 10. We'll
absolutely.
see. But how do you feel?
100%. Like double header cards are always fun when you got two championship fights, and I think these fights make sense. Alex Pereira, we know what he did during that time span of being a champion. Even from the point of going up to light heavyweight, right? Like starting off with his fight with Jan Blachowicz and then continuing his sort of wins his title in that title reign. It was an entertaining title reign, and then it was a razor close decision again, right? It was a close fight. Um, obviously, Magomed Ankalaev got the nod and becoming and new. So it's a deserved rematch, no doubt about that. Tough fight, obviously for Alex Pereira. We know how great Magomed Ankalaev is. He's riding a massive win streak himself, and he's pretty much cleaned out the division even before becoming a champion. He's fought the likes of Rakic, Blachowicz, Johnny Walker. So it's an exciting fight, exciting matchup, great main event. Then you got the core main man. You got Corey Sandhagen, one of the elites in that bantamweight division for the longest of times, considered to be, predicted to be a champ at some point in their career. It's just it was unfortunate that he is sorry in a division as talent rich as that. If you look at the champs in that bantamweight division, that'll speak volumes. So, and he's fighting the unstoppable. I'll use that word, man. Unstoppable Mirab Dvalishvili, who's on a tear. When was the last time this guy lost? I don't know, but he had like a receding hairline the last time he lost, and now he's like a different man. It seems like it was in another lifetime when he lost. So, yeah, man, pretty excited for the card. And look, the third fight in that main card, that's a fight that I've got my eye on. It's just written like violence all over it. We've got the unorthodox Yuri Prohashka taking on the violent Khalil Roundtree. Man, what a fight that's going to be. You got Josh Emmett, like you mentioned, heavy hitter in that featherweight division, perhaps even trying to put together a title run. He's taken on Yusuf Zalal, who's a formidable opponent. If you recall, Yusuf Zalal was Ilya Topuria's debut matchup, whom he won a decision against. So, and then also you got Abbas Magomedov taking on Joe Pfeiffer, one of Dana White's favorite fighters. And you also got the prelims and the early prelims. We've got, you got Patchy Mix fighting in the early prelims, so that should tell you about the card. Let's get on with it, man. Let's talk about the main card, the main event. Sorry. What are your thoughts? What were your thoughts on the first fight? Did you think the right person won the fight?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was well deserved and it was close. Ankalaev, surprised a lot of people. Alex Pereira kind of felt invincible to many, like a
Mm, mm,
superhero. To see
yeah,
him kind of meet his match was very, very, eye-opening for
mm,
many, DJ. And I think this is
yeah,
just great for the sport.
yeah,
You always want competition. A guy like me personally, I thought Alex Pereira would just continue to dominate. But I'm
Yeah,
glad to see Ankalaev, step up and take
yeah,
that belt.
yeah,
Now I'm really interested to see how Pereira bounces back. That's
yeah.
what it's all about for me, DJ. Like, what what has Pereira got up his sleeve? What are you hoping to see from this
Man,
one?
it's gonna be interesting, right? Like I was with the first fight, I wasn't surprised how good Ankalaev was because we already knew that. I think the only thing that really surprised me is like he actually had a yes the last two rounds there was a lot of clinching, but to begin with there was a lot of he was mostly on the feet and even had Pereira in trouble at one point towards the end of that round. Seems sort of like a trend for Alex Pereira where he gets rocked towards the end of the round, but then the bell saves him. But the only difference in this instance was that he came back and he wasn't able to make the comeback and get the victory. I thought it was a close fight. I did think, Ankalaev, especially with that clinch control, although there was not much damage inflicted, probably did win that. What sort of surprised me was like given like we've had this tradition where like if it's not a convincing performance, the champ if it's that close, usually the champion retains the belt. But look, again, look, and it was contrary to sort of an Alex Pereira fight we've seen before, which is it wasn't as probably in some people's books as not as exciting. I found it I did find it entertaining in a way where it kept me on the edge of my seat. Like, oh, what's going to happen? Like, is he going to take him down? And that's another thing that sort of needs to be mentioned is Alex Pereira's takedown defense. I think going into this fight, I'm expecting Ankalaev to sort of implement his usual game plan. Let's not forget he is a kickboxer. Although he comes from Dagestan, unlike some of his fellow Dagestani fighters, he's more of a kickboxer who's also got formidable wrestling. But I do think in this he's probably going to be more himself in terms of his game plan and how he fights and sort of mix it up a lot more, take him to the ground a lot more. I think in the first fight he probably wanted to prove a point. There does seem to be a little bit of bad blood brewing, but it's like an interesting rivalry where they're fighting via Google Translate, which I've not seen before. Um, for Alex Pereira, I think the risk here is he keeps mentioning, "Oh, look, he couldn't hurt me anywhere," which I don't think is true. There was a part where he did wobble him, but also on the other end, like I think if he's feeling that and going in, if he lets his guard down, I think Ankalaev is someone who's got the strength to knock people out. Man, he put Johnny Walker's lights out. See what he did to Anthony Lionheart Smith. Right, even Blahovic, he took some of Blahovic's best shots, and he had Blahovic in trouble. Rakic, same thing, right? So I think Alex Pereira needs to be very careful if he wants to, even have a shot at getting this title back, right? And he needs to sort of do what he does best, which is in terms of finding those openings and landing those shots. What we found frustratingly on Alex Pereira's part was that he couldn't really land those clean shots. They were like close calls, but he just never was landing it clean. And then once he misses, Magomed Ankalaev capitalized on that and sort of either clinched him up or sort of, and it always had him on the back foot, which was very interesting to see. Uh, Obviously, Pereira is good. When it comes to striking, he's an elite striker, right? He's good going forward and backwards. But for me, yeah, it was just surprising how much time he spent being on the back foot. So yeah, I think it's going to be sorry, Ankalaev is going to mix it up a little bit more. He's going to play. He's going to implement his game plan. I think Pereira just obviously needs to be cautious in terms of not letting his guard down. He's still an extremely strong opponent. And I still think it's a tough fight for Alex Pereira, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like I saw some quotes the other day, man, about his mindset heading in, and it comes across as a bit desperate for me. Like he seems like he's just really desperate to not lose again or not lose to Ankalaev, and he said something like um I'm focused on on not losing. I can't lose this one. I'm
Mm.
coming to win.
Yeah,
I have to win.
yeah,
So I think the quote was, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, look, I have to win this one. And I guess it just comes across as a guy who just doesn't lose much. And when you do lose and
yeah.
you get that rematch, you kind of
Mm.
have to win, man.
Correct. Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think Also, part of me like sort of sees his rapid rise and his change in lifestyle. Obviously, it's hard to adjust. Like we know this, right? We've seen many other fighters when fame and you sort of set out to achieve when you hit that peak, right? You're a double champ. You hit that peak. What more is there to be done, right? Earning in billions or millions, you're making a lot of money. You've reached the pinnacle of the sport that you're in. Your accolades speak for itself. Like where do you draw motivation? To be able to do what you do. Now, he keeps talking about now, even like throwing in things like going to heavyweight. So where really is his focus? Like, how focused is he? Is he the same hungry Alex Pereira who just came in? Remember going back to his debut, where he's got a point to prove against a superstar champion in Israel Adesanya at the time, and building up to that fight. Whereas, is that the same now? We don't know, right? Um, so yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But I do think it's a tough fight, man. Like as much as I'm a massive Alex Pereira fan, and this. I feel like it's still going to be and still is what my prediction is. Yeah. What about you?
Man, like I think this is going to be more competitive. I'm going to go. It's more kind of toss of a coin.
Yep.
Um, because Ankalaev, could still come in with some complacency. Maybe he makes an error, and
Yeah.
Alex is more than capable of capitalizing. But I think that desperation from Pereira, makes him a very dangerous. He's always been a
Mm,
dangerous man, but it's
yeah.
like he might just come out guns blazing and just like to hell with this. I want to try to get a finish.
I reckon
um,
that's the way to be, man. Obviously, cautious aggression, but it just needs to be aggressive. That's the Alex Pereira, man. Like think of the fight against Sean Strickland, Khalil Roundtree, Yuri Prohashka. These are all great strikers, right? They're all great fighters. People who are being at the top of the game. Yeah, but then he was able to do what he did best because of sort of the way he fought, and I felt like that was lost when he fought Ankalaev the first time. So we just got to have to wait and see. To be honest, like how much of that does he mean? Like you say, I can't lose again and all that. Like how much of that is like obviously does he mean? And like it's not he's not also going against some guy in the top 10. This is the champion. And an undefeated. Oh, undefeated. Oh, I can't say undefeated because he lost to Paul Craig, man. He lost to Paul Craig. Yeah. But since then he's been on a streak. Other than that draw against Blachowicz, which yeah, everyone considers that Ankalaev won that fight. He would have been champ if,
yeah.
if that had gone that way.
In
All
terms
right,
of
Stuart.
like
Yeah.
I don't want to foreshadow a loss or a win, but let's say if Pereira, even if he doesn't win this one, obviously he's not going to get a third shot at the
Nah.
same guy. But I
Yeah.
still think there's that mega fight out there for him for a John Jones because John
Potentially,
jo-
yeah.
John Jones has said that's a fight that would always interest him because it's legacy fight for him and he respects what Pereira has done and felt like that would add to his resume, you know.
Yeah, potentially, yes. I also feel if Pereira were to lose his fight, I think he probably tries to make a move to heavyweight. Right, that's a decision. That's a division where he can go for the title directly. Reason being, if Tom Aspinall, either one, whoever wins, right, there is that. It's a very shallow division at the moment. There is not much, especially if Tom Aspinall were to win. He's pretty much beaten everyone up there, right? So there's no real competition. Like, and I think, look, in my opinion, like Tom Aspinall beats Alex Pereira in that division. But still, it's a fight that people will watch because it's two superstars, right? Two champions, two new age champs, going at each other. Um, yeah, like I think another thing I forgot to mention is that he keeps. Oh, I don't know if it was him or his camp just put out a photo of him being like 30 pounds more than what he's supposed to be 2 weeks out. So I don't know, like, is the weight cut going okay? Is he fully invested in this, or is it deployed to sort of throw your opponent off guard? And I don't know. There's a lot, man. Like, there's a lot of things different. Usually, he shaves his head leading up to a fight. He said this time he's not going to do that. I don't know. Like, I think there's a shift in energy here. But let's just see, man. Let's see. I mean, hopefully we get like a really entertaining fight. That's what we want for our sake and obviously for their sake. Um, so yeah, look, I'm pretty excited for that fight. I think it's a great main event. A lot of questions. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Is his takedown defense going to be as good this time, or is he going to be more complacent because he wasn't taken down last time, which then leads him to be taken down? Do you know what I mean? So we'll have to wait and see. But we're going to talk about the core main CED. This is, one of the pound for pound greats in Marab, Wheelie, defending his title yet again. I think it's the third time this year. Am I mistaken in saying that? No, it is the third time because he fought Umar Nurmagomedov, Sean O'Malley, and now he's fighting Corey. So what a lineup, man! This guy is a divisional guard without a doubt. I think he's the best. He's the greatest of all time when it comes to bantamweights, in my opinion. Who he's beaten and everything, right? He's beaten all the former champs. Peter Yan. Uh, did he fight Dominic Cruz? I don't think he fought Dominic Cruz, did he? He fought Aldo, and he's fought all the top contenders. But he hasn't shied away from anyone. So yeah, man, he's taking another tough fight in Corey Sandhagen. Like I know he's lost to Aljo, and he's also lost to Umar, but that doesn't mean it. Styles make fights, and this is a stylistically a tougher fight for Merab than Sean O'Malley. So we just have to wait and see how this goes. But man, my money's on Merab. You can't doubt a guy who's riding on such a massive win streak, right? And and goes out and does what he does to his opponents, like domination. Like he's showboating against Umar Nurmagomedov. Like who does that?
It, opens up for always a possibility for an upset. But yeah, Dvalishvili just been one of the most dominant fighters I've ever seen,
Yeah.
in his division, and I can't see Sandhagen getting it. But like I said, anything can happen. But I expect a Marab comfortable victory.
Yeah, same thing, man. Likewise, I think that's like probably one of my easiest predictions I could make. I could eat my words, which is okay, but like obviously, I'm going based off what he's done so far, and so many people have tried and so many have failed. You know? So right, and then one of my most anticipated fights, Jiri Prohashka and Khalil Roundtree. I'll be honest, man, I cannot predict this fight. I don't know how this goes. It's like a violent fight. It's a extremely violent fight. It's like this is a fight that could happen in ancient Rome, like two gladiators, just fighting to the death. That's sort of how I see this fight. Like, look at the fight. Look at what they've done. Khalil Roundtree, his violent ways in Yuri Prohashka, man. Like who he doesn't need an introduction when it comes to violence. So
Yeah,
I think we can
this
all
is
predict. Oh, yeah,
this is like a fight, DJ. Two massive names that people obviously might recollect:
yeah,
Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker. Just
yeah,
two guys that will take damage, give
yeah,
out the same level of damage, and
yeah.
it's just the last man standing.
Absolutely, man. And I think the only regret I have here is like I'm pretty sure I'm correct in saying it's a 3 round fight. Oh, you know what? Who cares? I don't think it goes to 3 rounds. I think it ends, man. I think it doesn't go past second round. I think one of them's gonna knock the other person. Either a double KO or something. It's just gonna be violent. It's gonna be a lot of blood. It's gonna be It's just gonna be gory. But great fight, great addition to the main card. Surprised it's not the main card starter, but then you got the main card opener Joe Pfeiffer, who's also known for you know some violent finishes, and he's taking on Abbas Magomedov, who's another middleweight on the rise. So I think middleweight division's on fire at the moment. So yeah, so good start, and then yeah, even the Josh Emmett Yusuf Zalal fight is a good fight. It's a solid main card. Usually we find like main cards where you got like a good main event, maybe a really good fight in there, a decent core main event, and then just two fights just to fill the card. Whereas that's not the case with this. I think every fight is a solid fight, good matchup. So yeah, I think worth the wait. We had to wait a month for a pay per view, and I think it's worth it. Not to mention pay per views are disappearing after this year, right? But not for us. For us Aussies, we we still got to pay.
Yeah.
um,
Well, yeah, let's hope when we're talking about it in our recap, breakdown, and reaction that it's a 9, 10 out of 10
Absolutely.
leading into Madison Square Garden, which I think is even more stacked. You know,
Man,
You were just texting me saying you think you might be the deepest you've ever seen.
Man, the Madison Square Garden card is looking insanely stacked. But also, don't forget, we got two pay per views this month. There's an Abu Dhabi card coming up in towards the end of October as well, right? We're just getting spoiled, man. And it's main event: Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gahn. I'm surprised they didn't. I feel like it should have been swapped. Like it makes more sense for Ankalaev to be in Abu Dhabi and for Aspinall and Gahn to fight in Vegas, but I feel like they just probably wanted to hone in on the Pereira star power. Obviously, he's got a lot of fan following in the US as well, so they wanted to sort of hone in on that. That's what I feel. Man, I mean, we're hearing through the grapevine, right? It's going to be Volkanovski's going to potentially defend his featherweight title, so that's going to be a treat as well. Who we got on 3-1? We got Tom Aspinall. I think they're still filling out the card, but the the strawweight championship's up for grabs as well because obviously Whaley's vacated the title. She's fighting. Man, what a fight! That's on the MSG card as well. It's just insane. I feel like this usually, and I've said this every year, CT, you know this. Like, you guys can go back and check out our previous Abu Dhabi episodes. I always say that Abu Dhabi card's the best card of the year, regardless, no matter how many cards they give us. And the MSG one's always a close second. This time, hands down, I reckon the MSG card is by far one of the best cards that I've seen in a while. Do you know what I mean, man? You got pound for pound number one fighting in there, taking on one of our own JDM. You got Wei Lee taking on Shevchenko. Crazy, man, crazy. Yeah, that's
Probably, yeah. There'll
yeah,
probably only be one other card that might top it in the future, which is the White House. You
yeah.
know
That's
they're gonna.
there's some crazy rumors about the White. It definitely is happening by the looks of it. Like they're very serious about it. We know when Dana White's serious about something, he makes it work. Remember the sphere. So I'm keen to see the logistics of it, and they're pretty. It looks like everyone's keen to get McGregor on the card as the main event. McGregor Chandler. Um,
Yeah, the thing is, I think it proved that he's at loggerheads with UFC because he's negotiating accordingly
Yeah, yeah. I
with
mean,
the
again,
with
like when you
with
have the
the
money and sort of
yeah.
when you hold when you hold part of the pieces, you do have that sort of ability to do so. But I think Dana's been nothing but you know, uh, he said nothing but good things about McGregor. So if they wanted to make that happen, I think they'll come to some sort of agreement. Yeah, but McGregor would probably say like, yeah, throw in a couple of BKFC fights in there. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I'm looking at the MSG card here
Yeah.
like crazy. JDM, Islam, Shevchenko's Whaley, Leon Edwards, Carlos Pratas. My God, man,
Oof.
it's just Bo Nichols on the
Well,
card. Like Bo Nichols coming back.
we're gonna have to be dropping some more regular episodes,
Yep,
and we will definitely do a recap for this big one, 320. Um, DJ, it's been a pleasure.
pleasure's all mine, my man.
We'll see everyone soon. Peace.